2. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a waiting period, in a place that feels like a wilderness? It might seem like a setback, but what if it's actually a setup for something great? Today, let's talk about one of the most famous figures in history, King David, and how his time in the wilderness was the very training ground that prepared him for the throne. Most of us know the story of David and Goliath. A young shepherd boy, armed with just a sling and a stone, takes down a fearsome giant. It's a classic underdog story. But what happened before and after that epic moment is just as important. David wasn't just some kid who got lucky. He was chosen by God to be the future king of Israel while he was still tending his father's sheep, the youngest and most overlooked of his brothers. Think about his life as a shepherd. It wasn't glamorous. He spent long, lonely days and nights out in the fields. This wasn't a cushy office job. It was tough, gritty work. He had to protect his flock from predators like lions and bears. Every day was a lesson in courage, strategy, and reliance on a strength greater than his own. This was his boot camp. The wilderness was his classroom. While his brothers were being considered for their looks and stature, David was developing a heart of courage and a deep, unshakable faith. After defeating Goliath, you'd think his path to the throne would be a straight shot, right? Wrong. This is where David's real wilderness journey began. King Saul, the reigning monarch, became intensely jealous of David's popularity. David, who had served Saul faithfully, suddenly found himself a fugitive, hunted by the very king he served. He had to flee for his life, hiding in caves, deserts, and desolate places. For years, David lived on the run. He was betrayed by people he thought he could trust and was constantly in danger. Imagine the mental and emotional toll. He had been anointed king, promised a great future, yet his reality was one of fear, isolation, and uncertainty. He could have become bitter, resentful, or given up completely. But he didn't. Instead, he leaned into his faith. The wilderness became his sanctuary. 2. It was in those dark caves and lonely hillsides that he wrote many of the Psalms, those beautiful poems and songs of praise, desperation, and hope that have inspired people for thousands of years. He cried out to God, questioned his circumstances, but always came back to a place of trust. He learned leadership not in a palace, but by gathering a band of outcasts and misfits and molding them into a loyal and formidable army. He learned mercy by having the chance to take King Saul's life twice, but choosing to spare him. This long, difficult period wasn't a detour. It was the essential preparation. It stripped him of pride, taught him humility, and forged his character into that of a true king who understood suffering, who's relied on divine guidance, and who knew how to lead with both strength and compassion. When the time finally came for him to take the throne, he wasn't just a warrior. He was a wise and tested leader, ready for the immense responsibility of uniting a nation. So, if you ever find yourself in a wilderness season, a time of waiting, of struggle, of feeling overlooked or lost, remember the story of David. Your wilderness isn't a punishment. It could be your training ground. It's in these challenging places that our character is shaped, our skills are honed, and our faith is deepened. It's where we are prepared for the future we're destined for. What feels like a lonely desert, today might just be the very place that's making you ready for your palace tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that dives deep into the powerful stories that have shaped our world. See you next time.